I told you in the last video that I had several more Hoyas and I was just waiting for the buds to open. So between the last one and now, they have. So join me with a tasty beverage close to hand while we take a look at 5 more Hoyas in bloom. And spoiler alert, one of them this week is a lacunosa. I know I did lacunosas just a couple weeks ago, but this one wasn't in bloom at the time. And now it's not just blooming, but it's putting it all out there. Absolutely gorgeous. So without any further ado, let's get on to the first Hoya. And the first Hoya up is this species, Affinity serpens, Xiaojie 001. I didn't have any expectations about this. Let's see if I can get a nice little close-up of this. So the leaves are very pretty, reminiscent of serpens, so you can see why it's species affinity. And I was just happy that it was growing. And then I noticed peduncles. And man, I was very excited about that. So I've been watching this plant like a hawk for pretty much the last 2 or 3 weeks at the very least. And then it happened. It bloomed. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Something like a focus. And there's other peduncles down here ready to grow, and there's peduncles all over this thing. I am thrilled. The blooms are absolutely beautiful. Just stunning. There's a little bit of a scent, very, very gentle, very light, the scent that you have when you walk into a florist shop. So I sometimes liken it to hyacinth or springtime, some spring flower. But it is, I mean, for a little plant to put out a nice big umbel like that, that's very nice. At this point, they're a little bit pink on the outside edges of the corolla. And the coronas are kind of a goldish ivory color with a little bit of darker ivory in the center. Very, very pretty. I'm very excited about this. I didn't expect this to happen. It might have something to do with more regular temperatures, more warm temperatures. It's been a little more humid than usual here lately, so it might be appreciating that. I've never grown serpens, so I don't know exactly the ins and outs of growing that. But this one, it's got beautiful little leaves, nice little characteristics to them. Had I known it was going to look like this when it bloomed, I would have been looking for it sooner. Very happy with this. This is a good little plant. You can find this started from a cutting. I had a little bit of struggle with it. It wasn't happy at first. I think it's a matter of when it found the reservoir, it started growing. And cuttings are out there. I don't think I've ever seen a rooted plant for sale. I think as a cutting, this would probably want more moisture than I started off giving it. So there's a heads up on that. It's a very cool little plant. It's not like anything else I have in the collection at present. So yeah, this is a good one. This is Hoya species Affinity serpens Xiaojie 001. Next one up that's blooming is my hoyaflagellata, which I understand has now been synonymized with caudata. So this is now a variety of hoyacaudata. It's a nice plant. It's very pretty. It doesn't have the same kind of markings that caudata does. Let's see if it'll focus for me. But they're handsome leaves. I like the shape. There's a little bit of an undulate edge. They are firm. It's like, it's cardboard or stiff leather. And this last couple weeks, let's see if I can find, it started blooming. You probably won't be able to see this, but it has started blooming. Make my face go away. The blooms are very pretty. I've never had a caudata bloom for me, so I'm told that the blossoms are similar. So I have something to look forward to with my caudatas. These reminded me, do you remember in that first episode of Star Trek Next Generation, the one at Farpoint? Remember the creature at the end with the dish and the tendrils hanging down? That's what these remind me of. They are very pretty. They don't appear to last a terribly long time. I had another peduncle that was in bloom just a few days ago, and it's now something I have to sweep up. But it was beautiful, and there'll be pretty pictures. And this plant has grown really well for me. I've had this one for a while, and it's always been not the fastest grower, but a steady grower. It's got something of a woody stem, so it's going to be a little thirsty. Lacunosa blooms. I keep telling you, lacunosa blooms everywhere. And that's not a complaint. That's just like a fact of life. It's been a fairly steady grower this last couple of weeks, as I said, as the temperatures have warmed up a bit. It's started to put out growth. I keep the same care going throughout the year, but when it's just the normal heat, warmth of the house, as opposed to the heat from the furnace, the plants all seem to do a bit better. So do I, so that's fine. But right now I've got 1, 2, 3 peduncles getting ready to bloom. This is occasionally, you get a monster leaf like this one. He's an overachiever leaf, and we're pleased about that. Because it's got something of a woody stem, it's going to want its moisture. Whatever you do for your caudatas, do for this, or for your fuwayensis, which we looked at in the last one, do for this one. So it's going to want its moisture. It's going to want, in my case, good light, and it's just doing great. I really like this plant. This is Hoya flagellata. I have a couple varieties of this next plant. The first one of the first Hoyas I ever purchased was a hoyalanceolatabella, and I got the plain green one. I don't know where to put this, so the plain green one. And since then, I struggled with that one, but I was doing everything that the internet told me to do, which was all wrong for a hoyabella. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful plant. I'm hoping it'll focus for you. It's just whichever variety, and I have the solid green one. This is the inner variegated, and I also have the outer variegated. I picked this one because It just happens to be in bloom right now. And it's been doing really, really well. You may even be able to notice, I don't know if anybody has ever mentioned, but hoyalanceolatabella, the inner variegated one, sun stresses, and the sun stress seems to run down the center vein. It's very, very interesting. I think the blooms on Bella are some of my favorites. They're just beautiful, simple, white with that translucent dark magenta center. Man, this is just, is that better? At least I get to rest my elbow on something. The first one I got, the internet told me to plant it in a combination of potting soil and cactus mix. That's what Hoyas wanted. They wanted something really well draining. And that another article said that Hoya Bella likes its moisture. And I couldn't make that work. That was just, and neither could the Hoya Bella, the green one. When I decided to move this one to, well, when I got this one, the green one, when I moved it to pond, it just was very happy. No problems, no issues, it started growing. I got this one and the outer variegated one at the same time, put them under good bright lights, and those two I started in pond and self-watering pots right away. And they responded really, really well to that. They grew like crazy. And eventually, as you can see, they got to a point where they just couldn't fit on the plant shelves anymore. So that's why I made a choice. These went into 6-inch self-watering pots in pond. So I just literally kind of scooped them out, pond and all, everything, and moved them into these new pots. They do want a steady supply of moisture. This one, from the sun stressing, it's probably getting a little bit more light than it needs, but trying to find room for 3 plants this size, the 2 variegated ones are this size, the solid green one is even larger. In the plant room, it means that it is probably a little bit closer to the grow shelves than it wants to be. So they want to be, in my situation, they want to be near a window, but not in the window. So my solid green one, this is the window, it's just off to the side, so it gets a very little bit of early morning sun. This one is to the left of the window, pulled back, but it's near one of the plant shelves. So it gets the fallout from the lights on that shelf, which is where the sun stressing comes from. And the outer variegated one is directly behind me as I'm sitting at my desk there, facing the window. So in the wintertime, when the sun is very low, it gets a little bit of early morning sun. Everybody knows about Hoya Bella. If you don't have one, it's absolutely worth finding. This one is the one that's known as Louis Bois or Lois Bois. I've just been calling it inner variegated, because I can't, that whole Annika Bois, Louis Bois, it's hoyalanceolatabella inner variegated. Bella's just a good plant. This is a good plant. You can put it in a lower light, not, we're talking lower light, so not in the window beside it, what that means by lower light. And give it a good, steady supply of moisture. Again, like all Hoyas, it doesn't want its roots sitting in water, but it wants a supply of moisture close to hand, as do I. It'll do well for you. There's peduncles all over this thing. And I just really love those blossoms. I don't know if I have to go into the jungle. No, I can't smell anything. I can't notice anything there. It's, yeah, you know, I know I tell you this is a really good plant, but y'all should get one of these. This is just, this is absolutely not necessarily this one. If you like the solid green one, which I do, find one of those. If you like the outer variegation, which has more green to the leaves with just the, you know, outer variegation, find one of those. If you like this one, find one of these. This is a really good plant. Everyone needs one of these in their collection. There I am. It's a good one. You know, it's a good one. This is hoyalanceolatabella inner variegation. That last one, the Bella, because it's in pon, in a 6-inch pot, weighs a ton. Now the next plant, I'm very happy with this plant. I bought it as Hoya occultata, which has beautiful, beautiful orange gold leaves with reflexive corollas. So I ordered one. I'm starting to appreciate thin-leafed Hoyas. This plant showed up. I settled it into self-watering pot and pon, and it started growing. I don't think I've had this. Let me check the tag. So I've had this since December, and this is the growth that it's put out. And I was very pleased when I saw peduncles. Right now there's 1, 2, 3, 4 peduncles. I was very excited, but I looked at the peduncles and said, that doesn't, how is that peduncle going to produce that flower? And it didn't. So this is not Hoya occultata. This is hoyadecipulae. And I'm not disappointed that I have this plant. I'm slightly disappointed that I didn't get the occultata, but look at those leaves. They are just beautiful. And I don't know if it'll focus for me. It would be nice if it did. There will be pretty pictures. The blossoms are just amazing. This one was on my wish list. I wasn't sure about it. I thought it was on the wish list. I didn't search for it because I thought I don't know enough about it. You know, if I have to wait 6 months or a year for the first set of these, and the blossoms are, I mean, you'll see close-ups. There'll be pretty pictures around here somewhere. The blossoms are just staggering. They form this cage that meets at the tip. I don't know what pollinates that. I'm guessing it's some kind of insect. Or I can't see any animal getting in there to do that without destroying it. So anyway, this is a really pretty plant. The leaves are absolutely beautiful. The leaves seem to grow in alternating pairs. It's thin-leafed Hoya, so it's, you know, they're fairly flexible, and it's been growing steadily. It's just been growing, and there is, well, not the first 1, 2, 3 nodes, but every node after that has a peduncle. So, yeah, I'm on the hunt now for the Hoya occultata. Actually, I've contacted the seller I bought this from, and I said, I'm not yelling at you, and I'm not angry, but if I order an occultata again, will I get one? Because I already did and got this. and I may have gotten a bargain. This is kind of an in-demand Hoya because of those blossoms. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Plus the fact that it's growing like crazy. So my experience is that it's going to want a steady supply of moisture. Again, I've got it in pond and self-watering. I don't have it directly under the grow lights because I find that for some soft, smooth, this is not a smooth, but it's some thin-leafed Hoyas, that's the word, thin-leafed Hoyas, they don't seem to appreciate a lot of strong light. My multiflora is just off to the side of one of my grow shelves, so it gets a little bit of very gentle early morning light, and that thing's it's at least 3 feet tall, and it's I didn't bring it out to show it in this video because I've shown it a couple of times, but it's got peduncles everywhere, and every so often it'll just blast one. And I've had it long enough that I'm beyond the point where I say, what did I do wrong? It just blasts peduncles sometimes. So that's my approach to the thinner leafed Hoyas. I put them in the fallout light from the grow shelves. These blossoms are probably going to continue. The first one to open was this one, and it's got a very, very round cage on it. So I think the others, as they continue to open and develop, are going to get that same round cage with the pointed tip. Yeah, the leaves are gorgeous. The blooms are really, really, really unique. I'm not sure how you exactly pronounce it, but I'm going with a hard C. So this is hoyadecipulae. And I told you there was going to be one lacunosa, and it's this one. This is hoyalacunosagiantleaf. And I'll even put a hand in there just for reference. This one, this week, has just gone to town. It has brought it. I love lacunosa blooms anyway. Who doesn't love lacunosa blooms? If you don't love lacunosa blooms, then go find another channel. And who doesn't love lacunosas? Oh, even sitting here, the scent is overpowering. There are 5 peduncles in bloom right now. I'm going to see if I can. There's going to be close-up pretty pictures, but man, oh man. This I got as a thank you cutting from an online vendor. I had placed a good order, and a little 2-leaf cutting. Was it 2-leaf? Yeah, I think it was a 2-leaf cutting. Oops, another peduncle down there. 2-leaf cutting that was included as a thank you. This vendor always sends a little thank you. I'd never heard of it, wasn't terribly familiar with it, thought, okay, giant leaf, what does that mean? Giant leaf. And it's a lacunosa. So, what does that mean? And once it settled in, I think I put it directly into pond because my other lacunosa is like that. So I put it directly into pond. And once it's probably once it found the reservoir, or at least found the wick, it started growing. And for a lacunosa, that leaf's as long as my index finger. Their lacunosa leaves, you can see the dimpling. I don't know if that's the right word, but if you know lacunosa, then you know what I mean. You can see that. They're long, they're narrow. This one seems to like bright light. And if I say that the leaves are big for a lacunosa. It seems to me that the peduncles are as well, or the umbrals are. That's the word I wanted, umbral. They just seem to have bigger umbrals than the other lacunosa, and I have them all, well, most of them, side by side. So when I look at, what durian parangan puts out, or what, who else do I have over there? Punsak. There's a whole bunch of them. When I see them side by side, the blossoms on this one always seem larger. As I said, size isn't important, and yeah, right. Okay. This has been a really, really good grower for me. I just like everything about this lacunosa. I'm very fond of all the others, and for a while I had a couple other favorites. This one's now on near that top of that list. It's just done so well, and it's consistent. The scent is just, it's very consistent in its growth and in its blooming. It does, for where it's located. Some of my other lacunosas this one's on the side of the grow shelf. My grow shelves have wire gridding on the sides and the back. And so this one's on the side, so it's as close to the grow light as the ones along the back. This one does not seem to develop as much or any sun stress, actually. Maybe a bit. Some of the others, like Punsak, Parangan durian, will sun stress a lot. So I have to rotate them around. But this one seems to handle that brighter light with no problems at all. And okay, it's a last attempt before it dies. It's a last attempt before it dies, or it's just really happy where it is. I'm going to go with the latter because that works for me. And, denial works for me too. So this is Hoyalacunosa giant leaf. And I want to thank you for choosing to spend a little bit of your time on this week's end with me. I do appreciate it. I'm going to post links to a couple more videos. They'll be over here. I'm so glad I'm starting to learn how this works. Please remember to click on that thumbs up, like button, and the subscribe button. They're really important to the growth of the channel. It's your contribution to that. And join me here again next week when we'll look at some other Hoyas or some other plants. I haven't decided yet. We'll see what I figure out. Enjoy the rest of your week's end.